Tensions between NATO and Russia have been steadily building for years, but over the last few months, the situation has intensified dramatically. As Russian forces continue to press hard in eastern Ukraine, Western allies have stepped up their support, not just with financial aid, but with heavy military hardware. Now, the world watches in awe and disbelief as the United States, backed by multiple NATO members, executes one of the largest deployments of armored vehicles into Ukraine since the war began. The significance of this move is enormous. We're not just talking about a few tanks or support trucks. This is a massive wave of combat-ready units, including advanced Abrams tanks, Bradley fighting vehicles, Strykers, Leopard 2s from Germany, and CV-90s from Sweden, all headed directly toward the contested zones in Donbass and beyond. Military analysts confirm that the convoy included over 300 armored vehicles, supported by mobile artillery, electronic warfare systems, and logistical support units. The vehicles began arriving in waves through NATO-aligned nations bordering Ukraine, mainly via Poland and Romania. Satellite images released by independent sources show long convoys stretching for kilometers. These formations were heavily guarded, moving in coordinated patterns that suggest months of planning. The Pentagon has confirmed that this operation is part of a strategic deterrence initiative. But to many, it looks like something much bigger, a show of force, a direct message to Moscow, and perhaps even a preparation for future escalations. Unsurprisingly, Russia is furious. Within hours of the deployment's confirmation, the Kremlin released a strongly worded statement condemning NATO's actions as an intolerable provocation. Russian state media launched an all-out campaign labeling the convoy as a direct military threat to Russian sovereignty. President Vladimir Putin held an emergency meeting with top military advisors, including Defense Minister Shoigu and General Valery Gerasimov, warning that Russia will not remain passive while NATO arms Ukraine with invasion-grade weapons. In response, Russian forces near the Ukrainian border have reportedly gone on heightened alert, with ballistic missile units and air defense systems repositioned across western Russia. The deployment marks a dramatic shift in Western involvement. While financial aid and air defense systems have long been flowing into Ukraine, the direct presence of armored ground forces with NATO's full support signals a new phase in the conflict. Military strategists warn this could trigger the opening stages of a NATO-Russia confrontation or worse, spark a wider regional war if miscalculations occur. The presence of interoperable vehicles, such as Leopard tanks from Germany and Marder IFVs, shows the high level of coordination. These aren't just donations. They're being integrated into Ukraine's operational structure with NATO supply training and satellite support. Russia, meanwhile, is reinforcing the Zaporizhia and Luhansk fronts with reinforcements, and rumors suggest that Moscow may respond with its own major offensive to counter the perceived threat. For Ukraine, this deployment is more than just a boost in firepower, it's a morale revolution. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed the move as a historic moment in our defense of freedom. Soldiers on the ground welcomed the new equipment, saying it would allow them to finally break through entrenched Russian lines, and take back critical territory. Footage from the Kharkiv and Donetsk regions shows Ukrainian troops training with NATO instructors, learning how to operate the advanced systems with precision. The arrival of drones, mobile radar units, and anti-missile systems from allied countries has also dramatically improved Ukraine's battlefield awareness. NATO has reportedly established forward support hubs inside Ukrainian territory, though the exact locations remain classified. The global response has been mixed. NATO allies, especially in Eastern Europe, such as Poland, Lithuania, and Estonia, have applauded the deployment. They see it as a necessary step to prevent further Russian aggression across the continent. However, nations like China and India have called for restraint, warning that such escalations could ignite global instability. The United Nations has issued a statement urging both sides to return to the negotiation table, though few believe diplomacy will resume anytime soon. In Washington, leaders from both parties have largely backed the move, while critics warn that the US is inching closer to a direct war with a nuclear-armed adversary. As armored vehicles roll across the Ukrainian plains and Russian troops dig in for what may become the bloodiest phase of the war, one thing is clear: the conflict is entering uncharted territory. What began as a regional invasion has now drawn in some of the most powerful military alliances on Earth. The next few weeks will be crucial for Ukraine, for Russia, and for the future of Europe. Will this surge of NATO-backed firepower be enough to turn the tide in Ukraine's favor, or will it provoke a wider war that no one can control?